Alpha male. The alpha male. Let's get into these sports with our favorite sports reporter. Turn it all the way up.
Everybody, listen up. Everybody, stop what you're doing. And listen to
The alpha male.
Whoo! Okay. All right. Finally. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm live now. Finally. I am completely and utterly finally live now. Woo, thank God. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I'm he that they call the alpha male. Let's go ahead and get this thing situated. Good. Great. Finally, I am here with you all. Oh my gosh. You don't understand how frustrating that was. Man, that was frustrating just now. Okay. Well, screw it. Now that we're already in the mix of it, I think I was gonna go ahead and just jump straight through and start doing some of my regular rigmarole. But I'll just go through it real quick. Make sure that you guys follow me on all my social media sites. Started with my IG radio, the number 6_Raheem. Then you can go ahead and follow my sports page, AlphaMale Sports, all one word, AlphaMaleSports, all one word. You can also follow me on Twitter, on air Walter, and Radio 6, the number _Raheem, whatever. So anywho, let me get my bearings right, because man, I swear that was so frustrating just having to go through all of the issues and whatnot. But starting off today's show, man, really big deal going on right now. Currently going on, well, not currently going on, but it will be taking place this weekend. It is the SIAC, well, TIAA SIAC tournament presented by Cricket Wireless, February 25th through the 4th. And, you know, first of all, it sounds good to hear that, because for so many years I have not been able to hear our conferences, or, you know, my conference specifically, the SIAC, is actually right behind me. If you just squint, just right here, if you just squint a little bit. But anywho, yeah, it's good to finally see, you know, our conference is getting backed by certain big names and big companies. So before we go any further, let me go ahead and just bring in point guard for the Clark Atlanta University Panthers. I had an opportunity to see this young man play earlier this season. Had an opportunity to see him play in a very big game over at Morehouse versus the Maroon Tigers. And I have to say, Buddy put on a show. Everybody just give a major round of applause to Justin Longstreet, point guard, 6'4", I might add. You tall as hell, dude.
Yeah.
You taller than, like, I mean, I had it, like I said, I had an opportunity to check you guys out earlier in the season. You guys were taking on Morehouse in Morehouse. You know, it was the first of 2 games and a really big rivalry, I might add. So with that, man, I was really excited to see you guys do it. You were impressive. I mean, let's just go through some of the things that you've done recently. I have you pulled up here, man. I mean, first of all, did you have to run up the score? Well, not the score, but you have to drop as many 3-pointers on my alma mater, Benedict. And then it was on senior night at that.
Yeah, I had to go out with a bang.
Yeah, you did. And I mean, impressive, man. You put up a career high 31 points, which came not that long before. I'm sorry, not that long after you scored a season high or a career high at that time, 23 points versus Central State. So, I mean, first of all, how does it feel going into the conference tournament? How are you feeling right now?
I'm excited. In my last conference tournament, so I'm excited.
For sure, you did get to. I think you played through the COVID year as well, correct?
Yeah, I played before the COVID year, so I had played. We had made it to the Final Four before, like the year. The same time COVID hit, we made it to the Final Four, so I know how it feels to make a deep run in the tournament. So I got to make a championship now.
Now, how does your leadership kick in? Because you are a leader on the team, and it's noticeable. Again, you know, the one game that I was able to physically see in person, because outside of that is just mostly, you know, just clips and stuff from HBCU game day. But to see you doing what you do in the way that you have been doing it, especially with Clark Atlanta, man, and just being a leader, how does your leadership reflect on the rest of your teammates, as well as just, you know, from your coaching staff? How does your leadership play a role on this team and you guys getting deep into the tournament?
I think now, like, so I'm a leader. Like, I'm not one of them leaders that like yell at people. I kind of like pull people to the side and just tell them like, okay, I'm not the most vocal leader, but I can tell you, I can pull people to the side. I know people's personality, so I know
For
some
sure.
people don't like to be yelled at. So I got to treat everybody different because everybody not the same. So I think like now my focus is shifted to the tournament. So now I'm just leading guys, telling them like what to expect because we got a lot of freshmen that play a lot of big minutes on our team. A lot of people that haven't been in the SIAC tournament, they play a lot of big minutes on the team. So I'm trying to tell them what to expect, how we got to take it game by game. We can't be looking forward to any game. We got to be focused on the game at hand because you look forward to it, you might lose. Because if you lose, you go home. So.
Oh no, for sure, and we all know how it is, especially coming out of the SIAC. You know, if you don't win the tournament, it's highly unlikely you're going to get invited to the NCAA Division II championship, you know, series and things of that such. So we're going to already write that off. But again, for you guys going into, you know, this conference championship, because I saw the bracket, and of course, a team that you guys beat, Morehouse. You know, twice. I think twice. No. I'm sorry. You did not, guys. Yeah, y'all beat them at home, and they came back and beat you guys at home. Correct. Mm-hmm. So, but again, a lot of the teams that were ahead of you all, you guys have faced and have beaten at some point. So, are you guys looking at most of these teams like, okay, yeah, if we just exploit that, we can get them? You know what? They really didn't win that first time they played us, so we can get them. Do you guys get excited about some of the teams that you guys are going to be facing coming up in the tournament?
Yeah, because I think the way our bracket set up, the way our side of it is, I think we get Lane first, and they beat us early in the year. But we was up 9 with 3 minutes left, so we gave the game away.
It was more the inexperience in some ways.
Yeah, it wasn't just like they were just better than us. It was just more we beat ourselves. So
nice.
If we beat Lane, we play Morehouse quarterfinal. So I think outside the bracket, I wouldn't say it's easy, but I think it's set up for us to at least make a deep run, like. Because the other side of the bracket is where everybody at. So there's Benedict on the other side, Savannah, Tuskegee, Lamar, all the heavy hitters on the other side. Our side is like, I wouldn't say it's sweet, but it's kind of like, okay, we can make it to the championship. We can easily make a Final Four.
You see an opportunity, and that's all we really need is just an opportunity. And again, you are going into this is your senior season. You played through COVID, so you know what it was like. And just to be personal slightly, I worked with your mother at one point in time, and we had even spoke about the COVID year, and she had explained how you were finding it difficult to get to gyms and, you know, get runs in, and you even tried to find ways to get to the campus, even despite some restrictions. We'll keep that between me and you. But besides all of that, you know, you worked hard to get to this point. Mm-hmm. Where do you see yourself even after this season? I had the opportunity of meeting and working alongside your coach, Alfred Jordan, at one point in time prior to him becoming a head coach. You know, how do you see yourself still being involved, or if at all being involved with the Clark Atlanta University, you know, team after your graduation?
After I graduate, I probably come back just to mentor the guys, but I'm probably gonna try to go overseas or something. I ain't thought about it. I'll probably think about it after the tournament. Right now, I'm just locked in on the tournament.
You're locked in on the tournament. Let me not, you know what? Let me not infiltrate onto that, man.
I ain't even thought about it.
You can't even think about that. And I listen, I totally agree. I totally respect and understand that, brother Longstreet. I want to thank you for coming in with us, man, and rapping with us for the short minute. You know, I know that you guys are getting ready to head down to Savannah to compete in the tournament. Best of luck to you all. If you guys end up facing Benedict, I hope you lose. Just pointing that out. I hope you lose. I hope you lose terribly. Okay. It's Benedict all day, man. And just to be honest, man, I got another SIAC representative stopping by the name of Jarvis Davis. He'll be talking with us as well. So, you know, if any Albany State University alum, anybody who's repping Albany State, y'all step in and tell me how y'all feel, because it's a big weekend going on, man. But best of luck to you, brother Longstreet.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I'm he that they call the AlphaMale. We are back again. That was, of course, Justin Longstreet. See, he is with the Clark Atlanta University men's basketball team. Shouts out to Coach Alfred Jordan as well, man. Good brother. I brought Alfred Jordan up mainly because he is a coach that started with Clark, back, in 2007, 2008, 2009, those years. Then after that, was working with the men's basketball team, was an assistant coach, and built his way up through the ranks. And in my opinion, that is beyond impressive. That shows determination. That shows, a will, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So shouts out to the I want to say CIAA. I think it's because I see the TIAA, which is the sponsor for the champ. Anyway, we got my man Jarvis Davis coming up next, man. I'm super excited to talk with him because I got to get some questions to him. I mean, when I tell you this guy reminds me of a lot of the people that I played against in college, he reminds me of that. He's huge. He's a big guy. So make sure you guys stick in, man. Hold tight for just a second. We coming back to you guys.
The AlphaMale. AlphaMale Sports. AlphaMale Sports. Sports and entertainment collide.
You already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, he is I, and I am him. I'm he that they call the AlphaMale, and I have the esteemed pleasure of having a great colleague of mine, good friend of mine, buddy of mine. Look, I want to give him all the adjectives and stuff. My man Jarvis Davis is in the building. What's happening?
My brother, what's going on, man? How you doing?
My brother. I like that microphone you got there, buddy.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I got to represent, you know what I mean?
We yeah.
The gold, he got the gold and blue going on, so you know what I mean. So
I'm loving it.
Keep it copacetic, man. You know how we get
down.
I'm
loving it. Make sure you guys follow my man Jarvis Davis on Instagram at JarvisD90. And that's on your Twitter as well, correct?
Yes, all the same. Your Twitter.
Check it out.
IG.
Check it out, Jarvis Davis. Jarvis, look, I kind of want to just let you do your thing. Sometimes we get on the basketball court, we just pass it off to somebody who's a playmaker, just go to work. But I have to do my job too. So let's start with where do we start? Okay, I got one for you. All right, I got some sound for you.
Politics?
No. I mean, technically, this is what we do. This is religion. This is politics. This is economics. This is because football is a religion. You know what I'm saying? The front office is the politics. I mean, and the money exchange is the economy. So it's so much that we could talk about. But I think I want to go with the hot news right now in the NFL. And that is Coach Eric Bieniemy taking the job with the Washington Commanders. I wanted to say the other word, but just stay tuned.
I have to be accountable to these men. All right. So all that stuff about being a head coach, we could talk about that next year sometime. Right now, I'm focused on the job at hand. I got to be where my feet are. So right now, my feet are planted right here. One thing in this profession, you learn comfort is the enemy of progress. Okay. So when it's all said and done with, I don't like being comfortable. So I'm about accepting challenges and moving forward. So this presents a challenge to me. All right. Also, it presents a challenge to come and work with such a great head coach and the head man. But on top of that, I'm willing to embrace this journey. Okay. And my job.
What do you say to that, Jarvis?
Bravo. Because when you think about like what Eric Bieniemy has gone through, I think he's gone through like more than 10 at least interviews as a head coach. He only had one interview with the Indianapolis coach this cycle, this hiring cycle,
especially in the last 5 years for sure.
Yeah. So he's been the quote unquote hot OC candidate for quite some time, and it seems like that flame is kind of fizzling out. And I think that for him to make a conscious decision to say, you know what, I can continue to build up Super Bowls and compete, be in the last game of the season, or at least in the AFC Championship game for the past how many years? I think it's like 4 years right now.
Yeah. It's five consecutive two Super Bowls, 5 consecutive AFC Championships, 3 Super Bowl appearances. So right. I mean, the thing is, Jarvis, I get it.
But here's the thing. Let me finish over. So when it comes to Eric Bieniemy, I think that knowing what we know as far as having all those accomplishments and still not really closing the deal as far as being a head coach, I think that he took it upon himself to say, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to go to the Washington Commanders. Who's the head coach for the Washington Commanders? Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is known as what? A defensive coordinator, a defensive-minded guy. So guess what? Any improvement that you see from the Washington Commanders this year, you're going to have to credit Eric Bieniemy for that, because as much as Andy Reid vouched for him and basically said, hey, man, this guy's out here doing his job, doing his thing, just like all the other white guys that were before him that got head coaching jobs. And one of them has gotten multiple head coaching jobs since he left Kansas City, Doug Peterson. So he said, but Eric Bieniemy understood that wasn't enough. And
but should he be satisfied though? But should he be satisfied with this position? Because you mentioned again over 20 interviews in these last 5 coaching cycles, and it did seem like for a while there, I know for a lot of us, especially black commentators, we look at it as like, and another, he got another interview. He's the finalist in there. Okay, they went with the other option. Should he be satisfied? Because I see where you're going, and I got some other stuff to go here with it. But I see where you're going with this. But should he be satisfied?
It's not about being satisfied. It's about like coming to grips to what it is. This is what it is. Like there's the narrative that he doesn't interview well, and from what I feel and what I gather, and because I heard that clip of him talking as well, I was like, he sounds like a head coach to me. So
sounds like it.
This is a prove it. This is essentially a prove it deal for him, because guess what he just mentioned? He just mentioned in the cut as well. He said, hey, let's talk about head coaches next year. This dude is confident, man. This dude is confident that he's going to be able to get Washington right. And here's the thing. I was looking at, if you look at the surrounding talent for Kansas City and Washington, I can make a good case that Washington has better talent, surrounding talent.
They definitely have a lot of hidden gems in Washington if you haven't paid attention or choose not to. Because here's the thing, Jarvis. Me and my younger brother talked about this at his barbershop. Boulder Crescent Flash shows if you're interested in checking it out. I need to head there soon. But he and I talked about it, and a lot of people watch sports for the highlights. If you ever been in a social setting and a game is going on and you're actually paying attention and everybody's trying to pull you away from the game, one of the things I've noticed that a lot of people just wait for the big play and then say, oh man, that's a really good player, X, Y, and Z. Not too many people have paid attention to the Washington Commanders this year. When I tell you, because here's the deal, right? What does Eric Bieniemy get in this situation? What is he up against? Okay. Coach Bieniemy leads the Chiefs team. Again, we mentioned 5 consecutive AFC championships, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowls, 2 league MVPs by Patrick Mahomes as well. But in the last 4 seasons under Coach Ron Rivera, the Washington Commanders have been 22, 27, and 1. This season being 8, 8, and 1, as well as the Commanders are up for sale. So again, there's 2 ways of looking at this. The first way, and I want you to take a listen to this, Brother Jarvis, could this possibly expose Eric Bieniemy as being somewhat of a poser to Andy Reid?
When you talk about offensive coordinators, I can tell you what makes Brian Daboll with the Giants a very, very good coordinator. I can tell you what Andy Reid or Doug Peterson. But when I asked about Eric Bieniemy, what makes him good? When we watch the film or practices and we correct the wide receivers, the running backs, the quarterbacks, he doesn't talk in there. Andy Reid talks in there. He may say things to the running back because he's an ex-running back coach. I get that. But he has no real responsibility. Now you go from the Chiefs, where you can hide behind Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Hey, then you go to the Washington, where you got to call plays. You got to run the meetings. You got to run the installs.
Does he have a point? It's more responsibility. You have some situations in some places where the offensive coordinator is the grand poobah of the offense. He runs it all. In this situation, Eric Bieniemy is under Andy Reid, who is an offensive guy, who is an offensive coach. So the case can be made here. This is the first point that the case can be made that maybe there's a reason why every coaching cycle he gets about 5 or 6 interviews but doesn't get hired. There could be a possible reason that, you know, the Chiefs have been so successful and he's just been riding the coattail. Like, what do you, because I saw you made somewhat of an expression to Shady McCoy's, you know,
I'm glad you said Shady McCoy because, like,
throwing shade.
Yeah, he throwing a lot of shade. And here's the thing, man. Like, I think context is always king, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that may what he said, it may be exactly true. But here's the thing. When Shady was, you know, with the Kansas City Chiefs, he was the lead running back. And then, I don't know if you remember, as the season went along, his playing time
Eric Bieniemy came in. He started to.
Here's the thing, though. Here's why. Because Shady McCoy started to fumble. And Eric Bieniemy came in and said, hey, man, you need to start holding the ball tighter. This is what you need to do. Here's what
Shady
you need to do.
does have he has somewhat of a, like an Adrian Peterson.
He carried like a loaf of bread. He carried the ball. He carried the route like a loaf of bread.
Both of those guys have had issues with keeping the ball tight to them. I agree.
So here's the thing. Like, if he could, what he said initially could be true. Like, he never saw Eric Bieniemy doing all that, but he don't know what he was doing outside of those meetings. He don't know if Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy were meeting, coming up with a game plan, because a lot of times that's how offensive coordinators work. When they don't call plays, they help come up with the game plan. And guess what? That's a part of playing play calling. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what the team is going to give you in certain looks, and when you get into certain formations, and here's the type of coverages that they're going to try to bring you. So all of that stuff that McCoy talked about, yeah, it may be true. But on the other side of that dude may be a little bit bitter because he felt like he should have been, he should have been getting that playing time regardless of whether or not he was having trouble holding on to the rock. And then when you think about, what Eric Bieniemy said about him and his response to that, he said the guy's a Hall of Fame player,
a future Hall of Famer. I think that was a major stretch, though.
Yeah,
I want to point that out.
I agree. Like, I don't think Shady McCoy falls in that. He was one of the better running backs, during his time, but he wasn't the guy for a consistent
what Coach
period of
Prime
time.
say? Coach Prime said it. He said there needs to be a Hall of Game and a Hall of Fame. Okay, the Hall of Game would be a little bit lower than the Hall of Fame because you got game, but what did you do to set yourself apart? I like Shady. I agree. Here's the thing. I like what we in the industry learned, what you taught me, which is that reporters' integrity. You have somewhat of an integrity. I like Shady McCoy because he doesn't run away from what he says. If he said it, he meant it. He doesn't run from it, and I'm with that 100%. But I can taste a tad bit of personal attacks and personal, you know what I mean, feelings attached to some of his takes, if you will. We go with the Eagles. We knew, prior to the Super Bowl, he was going to pick the Eagles, regardless of any of the other statistics added on to what the game was going to be like. He used to play for the Eagles. He believed in the Eagles. He's going to call it out. If you ask him about some of his prior coaches with the Eagles, he just didn't necessarily rock with them. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't necessarily Andy Reid, or, you know what I mean? So we see the personal
back to the context, right?
Right.
Think about context. So if you're paying attention to reading the tea leaves like you're doing, like, we gotta kind of take what Shady says when it comes to certain things. When it comes to football, we gotta take certain things with a grain of salt because he brings that personal aspect into it. Like, he can't be objective about it. And I think that, I appreciate Eric Bieniemy for not getting into a war of words with him because, like I said, I'm taking the high road. I'm moving on to better things.
He's got so much more to focus on.
About to do. Yeah, he got a lot to focus on because guess what? Like, we talked about the surrounding talent, but guess who he has at quarterback right now as of this moment? Sam Howell. And Sam Howell has one NFL start under his belt, and he didn't look all that great. So if he can get Sam Howell to be able to be adequate man, the man should be the #1 doggone head coach candidate in this next hiring cycle.
Before we go to this next one, because you kind of segueing me into something that works there, and I appreciate it. Thank you. This is why I like Jarvis. Okay, I want to point this out. Jarvis was the first engineer for AlphaMale Sports years ago, so I'm rocking with that. But chestnut checkers. Is Coach Bieniemy positioning himself for a potential head coaching job? Hopefully, with the Washington Commanders. I saw early when we first started, I knew that's where you were going with it. As I was doing my research prior to the show, that's how I saw it play out. Do you believe that Coach Bieniemy is positioning himself, taking somewhat of a project or a working, a work in motion? Do you feel as though he's taking this type of position in order to say, you know what, at the end of the year, if we're looking at, let's say 6 and 7 in the middle of the year, if we're looking at, middle of the pack, if we haven't made any substantial push for the division or a playoff berth, and let's say, for instance, the management just says, we're going to get rid of Ron Rivera and take you, because the Washington Commanders also need some type of diversity and inclusion as well. Looking at the tea leaves, goodness gracious, as we talk, this connects. Could he position himself for a head coaching job?
Absolutely. I think this is the whole reason why he's making this jump, because like you said, like he mentioned, he said he can remain comfortable. He can sit in that role and do whatever he felt like the need to do, because like you said, it's a system that's set up for him to succeed. You got one of the better quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes that ever doggone touch the field right now.
Right.
Probably gonna end up being the GOAT at some point, or at least
Right.
be in the conversation for that, because the dude is just an exceptional talent. But when you think about, all of those scenarios, like, why would you leave? Okay, here's another, like I said, context is king, right? Going back to that notion, did you know that Eric Bieniemy had 5 one-year contracts with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yes, he did. I looked through his career history and career statistics.
Long-term
Nothing.
financial stability. What we always talk about with the players, like they're sitting out, or they're doing what they need to do so they can get that financial stability. He didn't have that with Kansas City. And
do you think Andy Reid was more so looking out, saying, we're going to keep you on a year-by-year basis, almost saying, hey, we believe that at some point you're going to get another head coaching position?
Yeah, you can say that, but like, what's a contract? How hard it is to get out of a coaching contract, assistant coach contract, that is, so to speak.
True.
That's
True.
not hard. That's not that hard to get out of, unless you talk. The only time I've seen coaches being compensated for, still being in contracts, or being able to go to another team is head coaches. Head coaches have been traded for before. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that, like you take into place when it comes to head coaches, but not necessarily assistants. So, because here's the thing, like, essentially this is a promotion. So he's got the OC title, and he got his assistant head coaching title. So hey, that means more money when you get the AHC, excuse me, next to your
assistant
title,
head coach, which he's had
assistant head
once.
coach. Yeah,
He's had that once. He had it once.
Bump in pay. So
Right.
So those are some of the things that, I think that, Bieniemy took into consideration when mulling over whether or not he was going to leave, because like I said, it's a sweet situation that he left. But I think that for him to make this jump, is specifically to the Washington Commanders, like I said, the way the situation is set up, it's kind of set up for him. If Sam Howell has any talent, I believe that Eric Bieniemy, it can at least get him to a point where he's able to distribute the football and be an adequate offense.
So you bring up Sam Howell, and bring up, somewhat of a no-name quarterback. And in my past couple of shows, I've mentioned, and not even mentioned, I've full out said it. There is a high demand for quarterbacks, but quality quarterbacks, but I'm not necessarily sure if the supply is there. And right now we're in a position, everybody in the NFL, waiting on the shoe to drop. We're waiting on the proverbial shoe to drop. I think Aaron Rodgers is coming out of his sunken dark place retreat out in Oregon.
Yeah.
I think, what is it? His darkness period. So
Darkness,
I assume
whatever. Yeah.
I listen. First of all, let me stop here for a second. I still don't understand how is it that we are applauding Aaron Rodgers for taking shrooms and being on psychedelics during an entire football season, but yet we still have punished Pac-Man Jones. And give me the wide receiver's name. Used to play for the Browns. He's playing with the Seattle Dragons now in the XFL.
Gordon.
Josh Gordon. Absolutely.
Mhm.
We have, like, for smoking weed. I know. I'm still yet to. It's
Do they test for mushrooms?
Yeah,
Does the NFL
obviously
test for
not.
mushrooms?
Obviously not. So that's just something that again, it baffles me again how we are. But anywho, because I'm sure I am sure Aaron Rodgers was high out of his mind during this dark period. But regardless of all of that, he's come out of his dark place, and right now, all eyes are watching Aaron Rodgers, the Jets, and Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr has already taken interviews and already gone to see the Saints. Said he didn't want to go there. I think he's gone to 2 other teams, but the main team that I think everybody is paying attention to, who's loaded with talent on the defensive end, got talent on the offensive end. They just need a quarterback. We're looking at the Jets. After that shoe drops, it's gonna. I'm telling you, it's gonna be the domino effect is gonna kick in. We're gonna see other teams taking picks. And then there's another player that I definitely want to talk about because I do not believe they should be coming to Atlanta, but we'll get into that shortly. But how do you see this quarterback carousel during this offseason cycle? How do you see this playing out in the next couple of days? You know, we're literally like waiting on something to happen. Woj bombs is going to be set off sooner than later.
I think you're spot on when you talk about how it starts with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the guy that a lot of teams covet. Well, not a lot of teams. Some teams are going to covet who are desperately needing a quarterback with some type of capabilities to be able to lead their team. And Aaron Rodgers, I think he has that. Now, he's not the Aaron Rodgers that we are enamored with, because I know at this point I am tired of Aaron Rodgers and the conversations around him, because I don't think that he deserves it. And it's funny how Green Bay quarterbacks are so similar. Like they are divas. They are the center of the world. And they can't do no wrong. And
my younger brother and I went at it because I said that I said that Aaron Rodgers is no better than Aaron Rodgers is no better than Brett Favre. You had all this time. You've been coveted as one of the greats. You have been placed up there just in some people's conversations right next to Brady. You have 1 championship. Championships. You can't judge how great a player is by okay, we don't have to. That's fine. But one thing that Brett Favre has done that Aaron Rodgers is yet to do and possibly will never do is go to 2 championships back to back, 2 Super Bowls back to back. I'm not vouching for Brett Favre over Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying, let's just be realistic. Right. Not right now. Hell no.
No. Still in welfare checks.
Did he get his welfare check?
Volleyball stadiums.
But the point I'm making is we gotta be realistic with how we try to judge and how we herald some of these players. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is an exceptional talent. Is he worth the headache? Hell no. Not at all.
For a team like the Jets, who haven't had a quarterback since Mark Sanchez,
right? Butt fumble.
They had some success. You know, they went the back-to-back AFC championships. You know, like that's the last time. I mean, or a capable quarterback or more consistent quarterback since Chad Pennington. So, who actually
took them to a division, took them to an actual AFC East division. So we understand. Okay, so here's the deal. Again, let's go back to the free agent quarterbacks that are available, and what the need is. Because here's the dark horse that I see outside of Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G, I'm sorry. I feel as though there are some teams that could use him. They could legitimately use him. team we just talked about, the Washington Commanders. They could possibly, for cheap, for
Well,
little to
what's
no
your
money.
definition of cheap? Yeah.
I mean, it's you can negotiate.
We talk about $20 million at least.
True enough. We can find a way.
Signing new deals now.
But I don't believe you have to give too much away to get him. You understand that he's a free agent for one. Yeah. For two, we understand that he is slightly damaged, if you will. I don't like to use or talk about players as cattle, but in the game of football, we understand that
we're talking about NFL here. Like
he does come with injuries. He does come with some of those things and ailments, as well as he's an aged quarterback, but he's experienced. It's something that I think some teams who want to potentially win now, or at least help usher them into another era of their time, they could potentially use somebody like a Jimmy Garoppolo. You also have guys like, again, going back to Derek Carr, going back to Aaron Rodgers, and then outside of those quarterbacks that are available, you got Daniel Jones, who's could possibly be a free agent, though we are looking for the Giants to sew that up quickly.
And they're at least going to place the franchise tag, because they got to March 7th until they place the franchise tag on. So more than likely they're going to do that, at least to start the conversation. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of good, not a lot, but there's a lot of teams that are in need of a decent quarterback, even to that same effect. The Atlanta Falcons have been we've been swirling around this quarterback conversation.
Is that a need? Like, is that really a need? Is that really a need?
I don't think so. I'm not saying it's a need. I don't believe it's
really a need. Like,
not at all.
Like, so this is a touch point for me. Like, you see my chest is opening up now. And I'm not opening up on you, but like I'm really starting to get an itch, like, because I've been really annoyed about the conversations going on about this Atlanta Falcons team. Because
this been going on since 2017, sir.
Yeah, man. We've been following this team, covering this team for a long doggone time. And
since when, like 2012, almost, you and I,
no doubt.
Personally.
Yeah. Ain't no almost, yeah, since then. So it's been a while. So when, like, there's been one constant with this team. Every year, I remember conversations coming into the season when we're talking about speculative about how many games they're going to win, are they going to go to the playoffs? We've always said, always and forever, they have to sack the quarterback. They have to be able to rush the passer. They have to be able to protect up front. Like, we've been talking about this for 6 years, man.
You got to be able to run the ball.
10 years. The last consistent individual pass rusher that this team has had, I'm talking about that black and red team down there, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's John Abraham.
Right.
You know how long John Abraham has been out of football?
For more than 5 years. Because obviously he's a Hall of Fame candidate.
A long doggone time, man. So
for sure.
So when we talk about needs, I think we need to kind of, change the verbiage. Quarterback,
I don't believe it's a need. I don't believe it's just a rumor mill that's been swirling around, and I'm with you. Since 2017, since the Atlanta Falcons lost that Super Bowl down in Texas, okay, I've ran into conversation after conversation about whether or not we need to trade Matt Ryan, whether or not we need to get rid of Matt Ryan, whether or not and not only that, every Heisman and every draft, let's get the quarterback, let's get Justin Fields, let's get Justin Herbert, let's get and let's trade up so we can get him. It's about the long game, and I've always said, if it's not worth it, don't go for it. And I've looked at the Lamar Jackson issue because, of course, we hear the rumor mill about Lamar Jackson is a front runner to head down to Atlanta. Atlanta is pushing to go get Lamar Jackson. And so I got into an argument with somebody saying, you don't believe that he's a good talent? Yes, he's an exceptional talent. Here's what I feel. And I've used this analogy. Some people might think it's old. Who cares? When Christmas came along, your parents gave you $200 and they said, you can go spend it on whatever you want. You run straight to the Jordans that are about $198, $201 for tax. So technically you'll be $1.50 in debt to your parents.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at Lamar Jackson. He's that pair of Jordans, because instead of the Falcons spending what excessive amount of money we have in cap space on Lamar Jackson, you can go and get a defensive tackle. You can go and purchase a defensive end off of, off of free agency. I mean, there are a few you got Fletcher Cox, who is a free agent. Another big free agent that everybody has been talking about that should come to Atlanta. Which one is it? Let me go back to it because I just saw his name.
Javon Hargrave.
Yes, that's it. Javon Hargrave and Darren Payne. Javon Hargrave and Darren Payne. Those are two names that I felt has been swirling around the Atlanta. That's been floating under the radar with the Atlanta Falcons as far as what we should pick off in the offseason. But why Lamar Jackson? What is the enamorment with Lamar Jackson?
Well, so my brother. When you think about, like, just go back to the best, the most fun times of being a Falcons fan. Like, what was the most fun time in Falcons history? And I know 2016 was fun. That was fun to watch. That was a fun ride until the end. And I ain't gonna bring the end part up. But go back to early 2000s when that dude was down here. That dude, Michael Vick, for people who don't know.
We have yet
Georgia
to move on
Dome,
from him.
when Michael Vick was in the Georgia Dome, the excitement, the camaraderie, the fans, the amount of people that were in that place that had a good time on Sundays.
I'm talking toxic.
Enormous. It was enormous. I'm talking about before the dogfight. I'm talking about the good time.
I'm saying that's such a toxic relationship that the Atlanta Falcons fan base has yet to let go of, and now we're trying to go and get anything that looks like him.
Our
that is
relationship
toxic.
with professional sports teams in this city is toxic, and it's always will be until the Falcons win a Super Bowl, until the Braves win another World Series, because they won 15
we can't even be we can't be satisfied with the one we just got.
In the moment, but
like, we're only 1 year removed. We're 1 year removed.
We need more. We need more, though. We need more. Like, we want more. We had one in 1995 and 15 straight division titles. Like,
yes, we did.
Yes, we did. And you got one World Series, and you let Kirby Puckett and the damn Yankees come up here and doggone do
the
us
Twins,
like they did.
Yeah, the Twins did. And then the Yankees did in '99, and then you transfer. So from '95 all the way down to 2001.
Yeah, man.
I mean 2021.
Yeah, come on.
Look,
we got two World Series within what is that?
25 years.
25 years. Come on.
25 years.
Come on,
26 or 25, give or take, some months or so.
One more? Can we not let Jim Larratt's go down in New York Yankees lore because of what he did to the Braves? Like, can we not lose to the Yankees of all people? The New York team.
It's more to that with the hurt and pain with the Atlanta Falcons, Braves, Atlanta sports.
I'm saying it's
diaspora. Toxic. My wife has even said it. She was like, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, because she's a Philly fan with almost everything except baseball. She loves the. She was born in Philadelphia.
Okay, all right. I respect.
But anywho, she loves the Eagles. You know what I mean? She loves the 76ers. And so she's able to kind of enjoy it. But for me, with us in the Atlanta area, we deal with this type of stuff, and
we're used to it.
I had a conversation with my dad years ago when Trae Young first got to the Atlanta Hawks, about the first year or so. And it's on my Instagram. If you guys can check it out, Radio 6 the number. No, it's actually on AlphaMale Sports. My dad bet me. He said, "Man, I bet you in 3 years that boy gonna be gone." Now, my father was wrong on the bet, but in the mindset of it, he's so on the spot, and I had to call him back and apologize and tell him he was right. And I don't like doing that too often, because now we're in a situation.
I'm a grown man.
Is Trae Young? It's seeming to. I'm not saying that he did it, but Trae Young, it seems as if he's gotten Nate McMillan fired. You're a lot closer to the situation than I am currently.
Oh, man.
And here we are again.
Yeah.
And now the Atlanta faithful, they're looking at the Hawks organization is, what are we going to do? We lost Travis Schlenk in December. and now we have Fields as the new acting general manager.
Well, he's the general manager. Yeah,
He's the new.
Yeah,
Okay, that's right. He is the new general manager.
Yeah.
But now he's in a position where he has to hopefully try to retain Trey Young if possible. Like where?
Look, man. Like we talked about this on my show ATL Day Ones.
Shouts out to ATL Day Ones, by the way, as well, y'all.
Yeah,
Shouts out to
man,
ATL Day Ones.
Yeah, y'all check us out right here on YouTube. Right where you watching? Come on.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
Not that hard. Just click over. That's all good.
Right.
Y'all love, man. We all trying to eat right here. But I think
sure.
that the main thing though, when it comes to Landry Fields and what the task that he has at hand, like you just mentioned, Trey Young. Now his new deal kicks in next year, so he's gonna be making about $40 million a year. That's cool. He's gonna be here unless he says I want out. So I
would not be surprised if he tries to do that.
I don't know if he's there. Yeah, like as much as he claims to hate or not hate, as much as he claims to not like all of this negative attention, I think that imagine the attention that you're gonna get if you request a trade. So
because he's throwing his weight around. Do you believe he's throwing his weight around?
No, hear me out.
Okay.
So here's the thing when it comes to Trey. I think Trey wants the public perception to be positive, right? So I don't think he's going to go into a situation into this offseason and say, I want to trade. But that would be the total opposite of what I feel like he wants. So I'm going to take Trey out of the situation. Here's the big deal, though. Here's the big thing, the big crusher right now. DeJounte Murray. The man has 1 year left on his contract after this season. So guess what? He can be a free agent next year. The guy you gave up three first-round picks for.
Yes.
So that's the thing Landry Fields is going to have to be tasked with. What is he going to do with DeJounte Murray? What is he going to do with John Collins? Because we've been hearing trade rumors for the past 3 years.
3 years.
What are we going to do with that dude? So, and also, who's gonna hire as the head coach? That's going to be and that's it within his face right now.
So we know that they already have, people in place. They have Coach Quinn, formerly of the Utah Jazz, that he's expected to be the new head coach. Ime Udoka has emerged as a new candidate, possibly for the Atlanta Hawks. And so now you're looking at a situation where it does seem as though they're going to go with Coach Quinn from formerly of the Utah Jazz. Took them to what was the last 5 years to the Western Conference playoffs, a couple times in the divisional. Nothing past the divisional round, but obviously they're trying to get him here. He's already had conversations with the Atlanta Hawks. So now we're looking at a new head coach quickly within this part of the season. I do assume, I'm not going to assume. I'm just going to come out with it. I feel as though they're trying to create lightning in the bottle again, because if this happened a couple years ago, first time Trey Young asked for, I ain't going to say he asked for it, but as soon as Trey Young showed his distaste for his past head coach.
Here's the thing with that.
But I'm just
everybody had distaste with Lloyd Pierce. Nobody liked him. Nobody. When I say nobody liked him, nobody liked Lloyd Pierce. And guess what? Here's the thing. As soon as I found out, talking with people, colleagues of mine, as far as when Lloyd Pierce first got hired, pretty much the consensus was that he wasn't going to be around to see this team get good.
Right. And he was. We knew that.
And if we're saying that as outsiders, people who cover the team, you know what I'm saying, on a daily basis and understand kind of what the goings on with this team, you don't think those players knew that too? So how is it that
Trey knew?
How can Trey be the guy that got rid of Lloyd Pierce? Lloyd Pierce got rid of himself, man.
Yeah, he got rid of himself. So here we are. And I guess we could take, because again, the name Diva, the D word, has been thrown around a few times with Trey Young. Yeah. Coach Killer, and so again, you bring up the fact that we have DeJounte Murray, which was an expected playoff berth, third, fourth, fifth seed. There was an expectation there.
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Right now, that's the issue. The Atlanta Hawks are proverbially right now, outside of that the 1 year where we went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mhm.
The Atlanta Hawks are a
21.
proverbial 6, 7, 8 seed floating into the play-in tournament now that that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So now we have a situation where we're trying to find ways for the Atlanta Hawks to take this player, create an identity, and compete for a championship, which it seems like we can't do these three things in unison. And it's frustrating. It is highly frustrating. Middle of the pack this season. We're just coming off the All-Star break. No All-Star selections. I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting situation going down the stretch. Where do you see this season ending? Because we know, like, can they win a series? If they win a series in this year's playoffs, I would be impressed.
I'll be there with you. Because here's the thing. I don't know if they even get to a series, to be honest with you, because I think they're going to be a
tournament and out.
It's going to be on a play-in tournament. They might, because here's the thing, man. Like, it's the one thing that's always been frustrating watching this team this season is the fact, like, I don't like not knowing what to expect when it comes to all the sports teams.
Yeah,
and I use the
we
Falcons
don't know what to expect.
Yeah, we don't know what to expect, and I've always used the Falcons as an example. Now they've been 7-10 for back-to-back seasons. That's average, right, or below average, or however you want to classify.
Right below average, kind of middle of the pack in the NFL. You're not the worst, but you damn sure ain't the best in nothing.
But what has been the one constant with this team is the fact that those guys gonna go out there and compete every time. Like, they've been in games, and they are in games every Sunday. Like, one-score games,
3-point games,
3-point games.
For sure.
You know, they've always had an opportunity to win games. In the end, they just haven't been able to finish those games because of the lack of talent that they have on this roster. So, and I use that example because the Hawks are the antithesis of that, right? Because they have.
I love that word, antithesis. You better tell them.
They have talent on their roster, dude. So for me to go turn on my television and turn on Bally Sports South every night when the Hawks are on the television, and I can literally sit there and hold my remote and say the same thing every night before they get ready to start playing. I don't know what these dudes gonna do tonight, and I can be right 95% of the doggone time. Yep. That's a problem, man. That's a problem, and I don't know if that necessarily falls all on the head coach, because guess what? The talent is there. So why are we not using what we have in order to be able to get dubs, man? Get wins, because the Eastern Conference ain't all that doggone great, especially right directly in front of them and behind them. So what are teams doing?
But the difference is teams have made advancements. Teams have made adjustments. Teams have went out and got players that can help them win. The New York Knicks, who seem to be the distant cousins to the Atlanta Hawks right now. Julius, right? Exactly. They grew up. They hit puberty. They're not taking that no more.
Bigger, like,
you feel me?
You know how you used to doggone beat on your cousin back in the day. Like,
he done hit puberty.
Yeah, he'll hit that puberty, doggone voice don't got deeper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He'll start playing sports. He don't got bigger. He's like,
he done lifted weights. He not letting you push him, and that's where they are. That's where they are. The Hawks, that's where the Hawks are right now. The Knicks, I said, I'm not gonna let you push me around. The 76ers is looks like the bully that just got hit, but like, nah, you ain't doing that again. Run a fade again. Team,
right?
Huh?
Is James Harden still on the 76ers?
He went nuts last night. I know that much.
Well, I want to see it in the playoffs, God dog it.
Yeah, right.
Let's see if that continues. Like that's how I am with James Harden. Y'all can say greatest scorer of
I'm gonna tap in with you on that, because I still feel the same way about Buddy as well. I still feel the same way. The jury is always going to be out with him. Okay, this ain't nothing new. This is nothing new.
I got the patience of Job when it comes to James Harden in the playoffs. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It's me. He is I, and I'm him. I'm he that they call the Alpha Male. Shouts out to my man Jarvis for stopping in with me today. We not only talked about Coach Eric Bieniemy getting his new job, but we had to talk about the quarterbacks in the NFL. We had to talk about the crazy rumor of the Atlanta Falcons going to get Lamar Jackson. It's not a rumor anymore.
Yeah, it's speculation, man. That's what it is. I wouldn't even call it a rumor. Like, it's
See,
speculation.
here's the thing with Jarvis, y'all. Whenever y'all see that background behind him, just be sure to keep your eyes open and ears open. Okay. Don't listen to any else of the rigmarole, because he could possibly, any of these facial expressions, they might be telling you something. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out in the next couple of days, especially after the draft and the combine. We didn't even get to talk about the combine, which is coming up next week, next Friday. Or is it next Friday?
No, next week, 27th.
Next week, 27th. I might try to find a way to get Jarvis to just drop back in again and talk about who we're looking at and paying attention to, who the Atlanta Falcons could possibly be going after. The HBCU combine just concluded. You know, we'll definitely be talking about that as far as what HBCU players are on the lookout or on the verge of possibly making an NFL roster. So a lot to talk about, man. There's always a blessing to have my man Jarvis stop in and talk with me. Can't wait to do it again. Appreciate it, brother.
My man, thanks for having me, brother.
God bless, Doc. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I'm him. I'm he that they call the Alpha Male. I enjoyed it today. It's Friday, live Friday. It took me a little minute to get us on, man. It was frustrating. I had a little technical difficulty, but thank you to brother Justin. I don't know why I want to call him James. Justin Longstreet, point guard of the Clark Atlanta University Panthers, the men's basketball team. They're headed down to the TIAA SIAC basketball tournament, brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Very excited to see how the Panthers play out, though I'm rooting for my Benedict College, because that's my age. Uh-oh. Did I go dark? I did. You know what time it is, people. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. If you're watching any XFL football, tap in with me. Let me know what you think about it. I like the XFL, and I can't wait to look at it also. You already know what time it is, people. It's the Alpha Male Sports, and I'm out. Peace.